Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Let's talk about it. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Let's talk about it. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, Andrew? How you doing, brother? Kevy Kev, what up? What up tonight? So I want to talk about being a franchise player more than anything. That's what I wanted to do. I want to talk about being a franchise player. I want to talk about what it means. What up? What up, Henry? What up, Ace? Jay's World. What's up, brother? I want to talk about what it means to be a franchise player. Hey, Angie, how are you, dear? I want to talk about what it means to be a franchise player. And per woman, ladies in the house. Nice. All right. Got some ladies in here. Be respectful, fellas. Just so you know, chicks dig basketball too. They dig talking basketball. So, like I was saying, I want to talk tonight about being a franchise player and what being a franchise player means, right? And when I think about a franchise player, I think about a guy who we're building our unit around you. If we have a high draft pick, we're building our unit around what you are. We've done our due diligence. We did our homework. We know what we're looking for, and you are the guy that we want to build our unit around. Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Larry Bird, Magic. Magic was already, that unit was already built, but they just expanded it with Magic. James, KG, a franchise player, a guy who represents everything that our franchise should be. And when I think about a franchise player, I think about these teams that don't do their homework. I think about these teams that Tim Duncan also, Andrew. I can't believe I forgot about Duncan. No, cannot forget about Duncan. What up, King? When I think about a franchise player, when I think about these young guys coming in as franchise players, right? When I think about these young guys as franchise players that's coming in, sometimes I worry about them. And the reason why I worry about them is because I think at 19, 20 years old, if we building our unit around you, right? We building everything that our unit is around you. And that's a tall task for a kid, for a 18, 19-year-old kid. You know, Dwayne Wade, when he showed up in 2003, the Miami Heat already had it figured out that, all right, this is going to be our guy. We're going to build it around him. This dude right here, the big guy, he's going to push us over the top. But we building our unit around this, the young guy. This is our guy that we building this thing around. He's going to be our franchise. And it worked because my game spoke volumes, right? My game spoke volumes for who we were going to be. And there's a lot of people who, there's a lot of teams that get it wrong with their franchise player, right? There's a lot of teams who get it wrong with their franchise players, and there's a lot of teams that they don't do their homework on franchise players. or potential first-round overall picks. Cleveland, for example, when they drafted Anthony Bennett, they clearly didn't do their homework on this kid. Because if they did their homework on this kid, they would have known who he was, right? They would have known who he was. They would have known what he was about. They would have known that he was marginal at best. He wasn't a guy who actually loved the game. His game not necessarily translated to the pro game. And I think a lot of the stuff that they put on him early was too much for him. It was way too much for him. Meanwhile, guys like Damian Lillard was a franchise player. That looked to me like a general manager getting a phone call from a scout. That looks like a general manager getting a phone call from their scout, from their head scout, going, listen, I've been down here, and I think I found our starting point guard for the next 10 years. Well, where is he? He's at UCLA. He's at the University of Utah. He's at St. John's. He's at a big-time school. No. I'm in Utah, and I'm in Ogden, Utah. His name is Damian Lillard. I think this is our point guard for the next 10 years. When you do stuff like that, right? When you do stuff like that, that means you're doing your homework. That means you recognizing who you have. And in the process of recognizing who you have, you building your unit around that guy and that guy in particular. These are class organizations that get it right. And when you have a first overall pick, right? When you got a number 1 overall pick, you got to get it right. You have to. Because if you get this wrong, this can set us back. This can set us back years. Years this could set us back. And I know for a fact that when you don't do your homework on a franchise player, you could very well lose your job as a general manager. So who are some franchise players that I've seen recently? I think Jason Tatum is a franchise player. I do. I think Joel Embiid is a franchise player. I did not know that Joker was a franchise player. When Joker came out in 2014, nobody was really paying attention to him as a second-round pick. Nobody. In fact, it was the Trailblazers who passed on him. Right? It was the Trailblazers who passed on him and decided to go with Nurkic instead of him. They passed on him. So, with that being said, nobody was really paying much attention to Joker as a franchise player. You know, Donovan Mitchell wasn't really coming out of college considered a franchise player. He was a middle. I think he went 13 or 14, something like that. He might have gone lower than that. He might have went like 15 or 16. If I'm not mistaken. He was a middle first rounder. So with that being said, he wasn't considered a franchise player. Giannis wasn't considered a franchise player. But these guys, teams did their homework on them. Milwaukee did their homework on Giannis. There's a reason why the general manager of the Toronto Raptors, Ajuri Asai, there's a reason why he was doing everything he could to move up in the draft so he can bag Giannis. Because he saw what Milwaukee saw. He wanted in on that. Hell yeah, he wanted in on that. And I don't blame him. If he had that, he knew for a fact that championships was coming immediately. So he knew when Milwaukee got that, he missed out. Every time I watched Giannis earlier in his career, I was thinking to myself, he looked like a guy who, why isn't he on the New York Knicks? I don't get it. Why? Because what he reminded me of is he reminded me of like Walter Payton when I was a kid. I remember watching Walter Payton as a kid, and as a 49er fan, I remember watching Walter Payton. And even though I was a huge Roger Craig fan, I'm watching Walter Payton, I'm thinking, why you don't play for us? What are you doing in Chicago? Why is he not on the 49ers? Are we serious right now? So when I think about today's franchise players, Giannis is a franchise player. Donovan Mitchell is now a franchise player. Tatum is a franchise player. Embiid is a franchise player. Let's see. Who else is a franchise player? I think Zion could be that, but as of right now, I think Zion is a bust. This thing isn't working. KD was a franchise player. Derrick Rose was a franchise player. We all know James was a franchise player. Dwayne Wade was a franchise player. We found out later on that James Harden was a franchise player. Let's see. A franchise player is a guy that I'm building my unit around. He's going to be the focal point of my unit. I think Ja could potentially be a franchise player. Because remember, a franchise player, now that I'm thinking about this, a franchise player is a guy who embodies everything that we want to be both on and off the court. It's not just you a baller. No. Because when you're a franchise player, now I gotta move a different way. There's certain places that I can't go anymore. There's certain people that I can't hang around anymore. Right? There's certain things I can't do anymore. So with that being said, a franchise player is a guy who recognizes that and takes that very seriously and embodies what the franchise is. Like Damian Lillard. Like Russ. Russ was a franchise player. Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, James. I want to say that Kawhi Leonard was a franchise player too, but it just didn't. It didn't last long. But it was productive, though. That's the difference with Leonard. That's definitely the difference with Leonard. So I think SGA is a franchise player, Jeremiah. I have to disagree with you with that. I 100% think he's a franchise player. Hang on for a second. I do think you're wrong, Pro Woman. I think that, and I'm gonna drop the link in a bit. But Pro Woman, I respectfully, I believe that you're wrong, because if you're a generational all-time great, if you're a generational all-time great, it's now up to the team to build that unit around you. And Utah did that with Donovan Mitchell. Right? Utah did that with Donovan Mitchell. Boston is doing that with Jason Tatum. He is now the face of that franchise. 100% he is. What up, Kelby? Been a fan and finally got a chance to talk in the chat. A franchise player should be the end-all be-all for your team. Bron, Jordan, Doc. That part I can't fight. I won't fight that. I will not. I just think that a franchise player, when we're talking about a franchise player, we're talking about a guy. We're talking about a guy who embodies everything that we are. I'm building my unit. I'm building my unit around this guy. And the problem that I have with a lot of people when they see franchise players and these guys from time to time underperform in the playoffs, I think that there's a part of me that needs to just be a little softer. Don't get me wrong. Being a franchise player, you have to deliver. On the flip side to that, it's also the responsibility of the unit to put the necessary pieces around you in order to be successful. And need some stuff to go your way, man. You need some things to go your way. But if you have things go your way and you win it, that makes you a big, that stamps you as that. So it's not just going to be, I'm the franchise player, I'm the best player, we're going to win it. No. But that doesn't, and if you don't win it, that does not mean that you're not the franchise player. You very well can be a franchise player and not win the NBA championship. Ewing was a franchise player. They didn't win it. Tracy McGrady was a franchise player. They didn't win it. That doesn't mean he wasn't a franchise player. He 100% was a franchise player. So when I think about a franchise player, particularly these young guys, I think Jason Tatum is a franchise player. I think Damian Lillard is a franchise player. I think Russ was a franchise player. James, Steph Curry. I think these guys are franchise players. And the fact that you don't win the NBA championship does not negate that you're not a franchise player. You're just not in the same category with those guys. You're just not in the same category with Ewing. I mean, with Olajuwon, with Jordan, with James, with Chamberlain. You're not in that category. You're just in a different category. Like Malone was a franchise player. Charles Barkley was a franchise player. Dominique Wilkins was a franchise player. But the problem is when you are a franchise player, you're looked at as the savior. And a lot of people, they expect championships from you, but what they don't do is they don't put the same onus on the organization to build that around you. So, for example, the Houston Rockets, when the Houston Rockets had Olajuwon, like they built the championship unit around him, and it worked. Right? It worked. If your team isn't good enough to win it, that doesn't mean that you're not a franchise player. Oh, maybe you guys can straighten me out so you can let me know what a franchise player is, because I think Anthony Edwards is a franchise player. I don't think in the next 2 to 3 years, we're not going to be talking about Anthony Edwards as the best two guard in the league. I don't think so. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to have a serious conversation about Anthony Edwards as a top 5 player in the league, not the best league guard in the game. No, we're not going to do that. So I just got a different idea about what a franchise player is and how a franchise player should be treated than other people. And like I said, maybe you guys can straighten me out. I don't know. What up, fellas?
Why I leave looking like that, man? Before Leaf go crazy, my question I kept asking chat was, do you think Paolo Banchero can become a franchise player? I think he got everything. But what you think, OJ?
I do. I look at him. He looks like a better version of Antoine Walker, a more athletic version of Antoine Walker. I love that about him. But with that being said, he also looks like he could be a guy we building our unit around, because he does all the stuff that they need in order for them to be successful. When you're the number 1 overall pick, this is what happens, right? When you're the number 1 overall pick, we building our unit around you. So they got a bunch of young guys. They got this kid Wagner, right? They got off of Bowl. They got Wagner. They got this kid Markelle Fultz. Jalen Suggs. He just hasn't panned out. Not really sure what they're doing with Greg Anthony, with his son. We're not really sure what we're doing with him, whether he's the franchise guard or not. So it looks to me like today like Paolo is the franchise. And I don't have a problem with that, because he looked like a guy that you could build a unit around. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Well, you said Antoine Walker. I was going to go on the lines of what Jabari Parker was supposed to be. I was going to go along the lines of that because when Jabari Parker got to the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis was not the program. It was Jabari Parker. Giannis, so Giannis, everything that we seen on Giannis, it was by accident, basically. So
got lucky.
Just before I get more deep into that, did y'all watch? I want y'all after the stream to watch, if you didn't, the Wilt Chamberlain documentary. The name of it is called Goliath. It's on the show. It's on Showtime. It's on the Showtime app or Showtime on demand. Huh?
It just came out.
It just came out maybe the 14th, just this past weekend. It's a 3-part series. Oh man, what a life, man! What a life! What a life, man! Listen, any doubt in your mind about Wilt Chamberlain in this documentary is going to change. I swear on everything, bro, because it changed my mind almost. I did not know that in the 4 Game 7s that he played against Bill Russell, he lost all of those Game 7s by a combined 9 points.
Yeah, 2 points a game.
2 points a game.
One
it
possession.
was Sam Jones shot, the Havlicek steal, and the Don Nelson shot, which he was not even in the game for, because the coach on the Lakers said, "We don't need you." Bill Russell did not talk to him for 20 years after that game. It took all the way up until your cousin did his first Reebok commercial, and they did that on commercial. It was him, Bill Russell, Kareem, who he also had issues with, and Bill Walton in that commercial. You remember that commercial? It was
just so you know,
and
just so you know, in that game when you talk about where Don Nelson hit that shot, just so you know, Chamberlain, he only missed 1 shot that game. He went 9
only
for 10
1 shot, and he had 20-something rebounds.
Yeah, he only missed 1 shot.
And
Jerry
West was incredible. Was incredible in that game. But to get deeper into this, real question, quick question. Kevin Love on Minnesota, was he a franchise player?
Yes. Yes, he was.
Antonio McDyess on the Nuggets, was he a franchise player?
Yes, he was. He's number 2 overall pick in the draft. Yes, he was.
Sharif Abdur-Rahim on the Grizzlies, was he a franchise player?
Yes, sir.
So they always being built around. That's what you're telling me.
Yes, I was. Yes. And what I think what you're missing is the terrible job that they did to build those units around them. That's the part you're missing. You thinking about these dudes, quote unquote, underperforming, which they weren't.
No, they wasn't. No, I'm not thinking about that at all. I'm thinking about what the team did. I'm talking about what the team was built around.
He was awesome up in Vancouver. They didn't have a clue what they were doing up there.
They
didn't have one clue what they were doing up there. Antonio McDyess, when he was in Denver, they didn't have the foggiest idea what they were doing with him.
Absolutely.
They had no idea what they were doing with him. No.
Absolutely.
So you could be the franchise player, and there's 2 sides to that. You have to do your job as a franchise player, but they also have to do their job in building that unit around you and developing you. It's not like I'm the number 2 pick and I'm just gonna come in here and I'm nice.
Hold on. It's three levels to the franchise player, right? It's when you're that ascending generational talent is no matter what, like LeBron, Jordan, no matter what happens, you can still perform even this bad build, anything like this. Then number 2 is generational talent, where you got the Roses, you got the Westbrooks, the KDs, those guys. But it also depends on, like, you're great, but it also depends on if they build around you, like a Dame Lillard. Then you have like the later picks, like the Jokic and anything like that. That's the 3rd level, where it's like they and Giannis, where they built you into a generational talent and they build you up and they built a team around you once they see that. So it's 3 levels to it. The only one where you can be no matter what the situation is the ascending generation, like a LeBron or a Jordan. Right. It don't matter who around you, you're going to look great. Like Kareem came in the league, dominating. Jordan came in the league, dominating. Right. LeBron came in the league, dominating. You don't see everybody like that.
Okay, right. The reason why I mentioned those 3 in particular, and I know what picks they were, and I remember everything. But my thing is, when they came to the franchise, there was players that was ahead of the line before them. When Sharif got there, it was Big Country Brian Reeves who was performing. So he was like a part. So you could say at the time when he got there, he was a part of a building piece. So he was a piece to the puzzle. So when Kevin Love got to Minnesota, Al Jefferson was there, and he was having his better years, so he was part of the puzzle. When McDyess got to Denver, I think they, if I'm not mistaken, I think that they still had Abdul Rauf in '95. So my thing is like, were they ever building around those players?
Now remember something.
You said remember 3 levels.
Right. Now remember something.
In order for this,
remember this now, Leaf. This is very important to remember. There could already be somebody there, and then the new guy shows up, and it's recognized right from the beginning. Okay, this is our guy. Even though we got somebody in here already, this guy has to take a back seat to him, and he's going to be our franchise player. That has happened plenty of times. How do I know that? I know that because the guy that you just brought up, as good as Big Country Reeves was, when Sharif Abdur-Rahim showed up, he was the franchise player.
Yes,
There
sir.
was no question about who the franchise player was. When Jason Tatum showed up, as good as Marcus Smart was, as good as Jaylen Brown was, this is our guy. This is going to be the face of our franchise.
Well, that situation is different. No. I'm gonna explain why that Jason Tatum.
And he took the spot from Kyrie too. And,
The Jason Tatum. Right. The Jason Tatum situation is different. Remember, they had Gordon Hayward in front of him. You said that.
Correct.
Remember that? That just sped up the process after that injury. That just sped up the process because he was playing. He was brought in to play off the bench behind Gordon Hayward, who had a big contract. They wasn't going to sit him down for with a 4-year, $100+ million contract what he had.
Right.
And then Kyrie Irving was just coming off a championship team in Cleveland, so he was really the guy. So that speeded it up. I understand that. That is a different situation. What I'm talking about is the three particular situations. I didn't even mention Boogie Cousins, who was behind Tyreek Evans. If I'm not mistaken.
As soon as he walked in the door, he was the guy. See, as good as Tyreek Evans was, soon as Cousins walked in the door, he was the guy. Knock it off. Knock it off. When Cousins walked in the door, he was the guy. Let's knock it off. Even though Tyreek Evans was Rookie of the Year, we all knew when Cousins walked in the door, he was the guy. They were building that unit. And Leaf, you can if you don't believe that, Leaf, you are fired as a GM. You are fired. You are fired as a GM. This is our guy. You are fired 100%. Because it's the same situation when Michael Carter Williams is in Philadelphia and Embiid shows up. Embiid is the guy.
No. That's different. That's different.
It's not
I'm gonna tell you why that's different because
the exact same thing.
No, because they were tanking. They were tanking during that time.
Why are you talking like this? Why are you talking like this? Why are you talking about the Sacramento Kings? Why are you talking about the Sacramento Kings like they was just like a game away from making the playoffs?
No. I understand that. No. Hold on, chill town. Listen.
You don't understand.
Yes, I do. No, because those situations was different. Hold on. No, I'm gonna tell you why. Yes, it was. Because Philly was clearly taken under Winky. You know this.
Sacramento was it?
I don't know what Sacramento was doing. They were garbage, but I don't know if they were taking. We know for a fact Winky was tanking. We know that.
And Sacramento wasn't trying to win either. They weren't. They were not trying to win. Not only were they not trying to win, the fact that Cousins shows up out of Kentucky, who it was arguably that he was the best player in the draft. The fact that he shows up, he immediately is the best player on that team. As good as Tyreek Evans was, he immediately is the best player on that team. This is the guy. I mean, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. I think at his peak he was like 25, 26 and 13, something like that. Yeah. 26 and 13. Right. Before he started breaking down, he was immediately their guy. So that's not the question. Yes, you can show up to a crew and be the guy when they already got somebody. Because let's be clear, Ricky Davis was the guy in Cleveland until James showed up.
Ricky Davis.
Let's make sure
I thought you were going to say Bobby Sorrell and the Wall Wagner.
His role. Leaf, he telling
one more time. Just so you know, Leaf.
You didn't say El Gauskas. You said Ricky Davis.
I think you're missing this, my man. When James showed up, Ricky Davis said, quote, he thought they brought James in to help him.
Facts.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Who's to say LeBron got to fit his role?
Yes, he thought they brought James in because he thought they were building that unit around him.
And then, listen, all right, listen. In the case of who I said Kevin Love on Minnesota, who had them Debo years where he had, I think he was leading the league in double doubles, obviously. With who I said McDyess on Denver, and I said Sharif Abdul-Rahim on the Grizzlies. The reason why I'm questioning this because remember y'all said there was 3 parts to this. You gotta ascend as a guy and be that guy, and then the third part is the unit has to build around you. You remember Chilltown? It was you that said them units, them front offices didn't build around them. So my thing is I'm questioning. That's why I said whether they realistically was the franchise players, or maybe the front office didn't think they was the franchise players. They was just like, Hey, F it. Listen, he's
No,
good.
that's why I
don't
said
think
it's three
franchise
levels.
guy.
It's 3 levels.
Yeah, but
It's
if that
a
third level ain't matched, man, how could he be a franchise player? That's what I'm
How
asking.
could he wait? How could he not be a franchise player? Leaf, you meet this chick, she wifey material. You screwing her up.
Yeah.
You the one screwing her up. She's everything you looking for, only except you taking her to hot dog joints, you taking her to Burger King, you ain't taking care of her, and then you wonder why she whack, why she wearing whack weaves, why she look the way she do in the hood, because you ain't looking after her. That's part of being a franchise player. B. When you a franchise and you got a franchise player, it's your job to hone that guy, put the right pieces around him, develop him, and turn him into what you think he's gonna be.
So based on what the organizations didn't do, that based on how we remember them, they wasn't a franchise player because the organization.
Hold on, wait. I got the perfect example.
Build
I got
stuff
the
around
perfect
him.
example
That's what
right
you're telling me.
If the Atlanta Hawks built around Dominique Wilkins like they supposed, Dominique Wilkins be known as one of the greatest players of all time.
Well, he is anyway.
Yeah, he is anyway.
But he'll be on a tier higher easily.
Just remember this, Leaf, and I'm going to leave it at this. Anybody can train a secretary. You can screw them up too. Just so you know.
You said that shit already. You said that shit already. You said that shit plenty of times. All right.
I understand that.
I wanted to move on. I want to move on to the JB situation. Listen, y'all both GMs. Y'all want to fire my ass for some reason. Listen.
Yes.
Are y'all paying JB $300 million?
You gonna let him walk?
There's a reason why we have bird rights, because you can go over the salary cap for your homegrown talent. Now you worrying about the number. That's why we got bird rights, so you can pay Jason Tatum, so you can pay Jaylen Brown, so you can pay all of these guys. Now,
he wearing the same jersey Bird used to wear.
Right,
blue was made up for.
Right, it might be a little excessive, but there's a reason why we have these rules. So you can keep your guys.
I want y'all to stay right there. Now, I'm thinking what I'm also thinking about is everything that they moved aside for this new roster that they got right now. Now you moved away from Marcus Smart and got
I didn't like
Porzingis. I didn't like that move at all. You moved away from, you let Grant Williams walk to Dallas, who was the only person that was standing up for you. Who was like, yo, I'm gonna fight, yo, just fight with me. He was on. You remember we said that. Me and you was on stream and we said that. Yo, I'm gonna fight, yo, you gonna fight with me. You let go of your muscle, you let go of your grit. Now you basically, all right, $300 million, you got the bird rights, you got all of this thing that you said. Are you gonna use at least a little bit of that money to build up some more of your team and get your team back together, or you just want to get the whole 300 M's?
It's obvious that they ain't that far away. It's obvious that they're not that far away. I didn't like losing Marcus Smart. I don't like that at all. But I did like
the pieces that they lost.
I did like adding KP. I did like adding KP. I think that they can supplement that point guard spot. If they could go maybe a little bit younger, not a little bit younger, I'm sorry, more of a vet and maybe downgrade. Like I mentioned this in the past, Mike Conley is my guy. Pick up the telephone and call up Minnesota and ask for Mike Conley. I love Mike Conley.
Okay, but how do you get Brogdon off with that injury? Remember the Clippers still got vetoed.
Now look, if for the Band-Aid, they got a young guy that's playing on the G League team, very athletic young guard. He's definitely great. But then also the reason why Porzingis is in the situation that he in for that team, because you got to realize the team that's been in their way and they've been dealing with it ain't been the Bucks. It's been the Heat. And the problem that they have the most is that zone. And what they need Porzingis to do is play in the middle of that zone, knock down that midi, also give them a post presence so we can stop getting Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown shooting these crazy shots and settling for threes. Because when you play a zone, the two things that you want to do is either make them jack up, rush and jack up shots, or stop penetration to the paint, and which the Heat has done excellent. That's why both their series has been going to Game 7, and the Celtics has been on the bad end of the stick. I do not like losing Marcus Smart because he was one of the best assist-to-turnover ratios guards that they had, and I think getting rid of Brogdon would have been smarter, but obviously injury messed that up.
Man, you've been dunking me all this time, man.
Who that ticket?
Yeah, you trying to grill town. I've been out here for like 25 minutes. Grill town.
I did not. I'm sorry. I did not see you down there, brother. I apologize, my man. I'm sorry.
Grill town did not want this smoke. But Grill, I had to agree with what Grill said, Leaf. When Boogie walked in the door, he was the man.
Yeah, he was. That's
Okay.
no
He
question.
was the man, bro.
All right. So what about the other three
Ticket,
names?
my fault.
I mentioned,
Ticket, my fault. I did not see you down there, my man.
I
I
tried
did.
to
My
tell you.
fault.
Good. Now, I was gonna get you for that cap that you talk about building units, but then when y'all switched up talking about Boogie, you was right about that. Like, bro, come on, man. You talking about Tyreek Evans and Boogie Cousins, man? Come on. Bro.
I ticket. The other three players that I mentioned Kevin Love on Minnesota. I mentioned Sharif Abdul-Rahim on the Grizzlies, and I mentioned McDyess on Denver. What you think about them? Were they ever built around properly, or were they ever?
I mean, Kevin Love didn't really have the time because he was in Minnesota a short time. Who else you said? You said Sharif?
I said Sharif. Yeah, Sharif.
That didn't last too long in Vancouver. How long did that last when he came in league Vancouver?
Like 5 years, about 4 or 5 years. I think he got traded in 01 to Atlanta.
And who was the other guy you said?
McDyess.
McDyess. I mean, in Denver, they did as much as that went as far as it was gonna go.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Before he started bouncing around. I mean, listen, bro, y'all gotta understand one thing. Every team don't have the money and the resources of every team. So when y'all talk about all these different players every year coming in the league, every team ain't gonna get a championship roster built around them. Everybody keep thinking that sometimes your greatness elevates a team to being that. You understand? Right. Sometimes your individual greatness as a player elevate a team into being a championship level team. Your individual greatness as a player. That's why you elevate dudes like AI, because without AI, that's a lottery team.
But
without AI, Philly's a lottery team. So they're not making the playoffs.
But I said there's 3 levels to a franchise player. You got that one, that essential talent. That's like LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, who can, no matter what the situation is, they're gonna be great. Then you have that top pick, where it's like, okay, if we put the right pieces around him, we can still make him great. And then you also have that late pick, like that Jokic and that Giannis, where he's like, we can build him, and then we see what he is. All right, let's build him around him, because we built him into a franchise player. That's why I think it's 3 levels to it.
Yeah, man, but like I said, I just don't like the excuse when they say, "Oh, they didn't build around this player." If you that good, you elevating the guys around you for one, and then they're gonna add here and there. So when you that great, you automatically elevate guys that are around you. You understand what I'm saying? See, great players.
Now, two things. Keep going, Ticket. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I'm just saying, great players can elevate the guys that surround them. I mean, look, that's what LeBron did when he first came into the league. That's the one thing I used to love about LeBron James. You know, I was a fan of LeBron's, not big like Kobe's, but I like LeBron James when he first came in the league, because he wasn't on all that stuff that he got on when he went to Miami. He was really just playing basketball, trying to win. You know what I'm saying? And whether he wasn't succeeding or not, he was out there going about it. He was out there really trying to build up his guys. He was about all of his guys. And when he felt like he couldn't win that way, that's when the change came. And I didn't like that, because I felt like you keep building, because they was on the path.
I think it was more so the media, bro. Like that.
No, it wasn't the media. No, it wasn't the media. It wasn't the media. You gotta understand. Listen, you building, bro. You building. So my whole thing is this: like, you don't stop in the middle of building. That's the only thing I think LeBron did wrong in his career, is that he stopped when they was building. Because remember, the Celtics were getting old. They only had like a year or so. LeBron was still young, man. He came out of high school, bro. That dude had all those years left to where he would have took over. He would have been a dominant guy. And I think that even if he would have stayed, he would have won a championship in Cleveland. And then after that, nobody really can say nothing to him about anything he does as far as his career, because of how he did it.
Now, two things could be true, Ticket. Now, 2 things could be true, Ticket, because you just mentioned about you being that great of a player, you elevate players, which is what Allen Iverson did in Philadelphia. He definitely did. However, they did build that unit around him. They did put pieces around him for him to be better, right? So they ended up getting off Jerry Stackhouse, who was there before Allen Iverson. They got off Stackhouse and they kept Allen Iverson, right? They ended up bringing in Eric Snow, who was in Seattle, to complement him. They brought in Aaron McKee. They brought in, they already had what's the big guy that I'm thinking about? Theo Ratliff. But then they upgraded they upgraded Theo Ratliff, who was awesome. The only reason why they traded off of him is because he got injured. Because he was right there with the Dikembe Mutombo for Defensive Player of the Year. He was
like number 2 that year, right?
They were building that unit around him in addition to him elevating them.
That's kind of unfair.
Things can be true.
He didn't have the sidekick though. Like most guys had that one sidekick. Like he never had that one other guy that if he didn't have it going offensively, I could depend on you. You see what I'm saying? And that was to me, that was the separator. Like, yeah, you're right. All the other pieces, they built great around him, like the other pieces, but they never gave him that second guy until late. They gave him an old Chris Webber, and by that time, Webber was washed up. By the time they drafted Iggy,
I remember they gave him Keith Van Horn too, bro. That was
it wasn't the same no more. So for me, it was just that, dog. Like, look, man, listen. I always get on chill about guys like LeBron, but I felt like personally LeBron was great enough to overcome and build. Like Giannis, look at Giannis, bro. Bro, y'all know what Giannis was going through before he won the chip, bro. Bro, this dude was getting humiliated, bro, because of how he lost
the first round. He was getting bounced out the first round
Miami,
before he
all
won
those
MVP.
losses. He could have easily copped out and said, you know what, I'm going to one of these other teams where I can just get on the team and win a chip. He didn't do that. He kept like chipping in the team. They kept trying to maneuver and find different ways to build guys around him in Milwaukee. So all I'm saying is
they won a series until 2019 when he won MVP. Did that happen when he was in Milwaukee?
But Leaf,
they was getting bounced out the first round.
But Leaf, look at what happened though. They stayed the course, is what I'm saying. They were a small market team, just like the Cavs, but they stayed the course and they kept chipping away. They kept putting small pieces around him. They went and got insignificant dudes on other teams. They went and got guys like Bobby Portis, who was going to sleep over there in New York before he came over there. And nobody was checking out for Bobby Portis since he left the Bulls. Nobody looked at Bobby Portis on that level. You know what I'm saying? They got hand-me-downs. The Lakers let Brook Lopez walk. They went and got Brook Lopez after the Lakers let Brook Lopez walk. Nobody had Brook Lopez in that regard before.
But see, the difference, the stuff that you spitting, Ticket, the stuff that you spitting about Milwaukee, that's first class moves, though.
No, right? You're not hearing me. No,
I heard everything that you said.
Chill. People, what I'm saying. Hold on. Chill. People, what your boy. No, but chill. People, what your boy saying. Hold on. All I'm saying is this, dog. People, what I'm saying. When they get those moves turned out to be great visionary moves, Chilltown. For example.
Brook Lopez
when Shaq goes and gets Mars on PC, he don't know Mars going to turn out to be what Mars is right now. He didn't see Mars as that. See what I'm saying? So all I'm saying to you is this. When you're looking at the situation, Chilltown, you're looking at it like this. They go get Bobby Portis, but Bobby Portis had a foot out of the league since he had punched that boy face out. He was in the Knicks withering. He was withering, and he was the backup with the Knicks. You go get Brook Lopez, the Lakers let him walk for no reason. Nobody was talking about Brook, but hold on, but chill. Nobody was talking about Brook like that in that light as a rim protector or they wasn't even thinking about him in that light until he went over to Milwaukee, and then you got to see him elevated because of the greatness of guys like Giannis. All I'm saying is that if LeBron would have been a little more patient, I do believe that they would have gotten the right pieces around him, even if it would have been like that. I do believe that because they always showed you they was willing to take risks and make different moves. That's all I'm saying.
And I can appreciate that logic, Ticket, but my question is how much longer? Because you're talking about Giannis.
Well, hold on.
Once they got them pieces with Giannis, they won the NBA championship. They won the NBA championship with Giannis in year 8.
Check it out.
Cleveland in year 8. I mean, how much longer do I have to wait?
Check it out. You go to the NBA Finals in your 4th year.
Right.
Then you come back by your 7th year. You're winning 66 games. So they made changes, and you coming back winning 66 games. Mike Brown's the coach of the year. You think you're on the right path. You winning 66 and then 61 games. The fact that they lost early in the playoffs either could have been an anomaly or, okay, let's try something different. But we're on the right path. We ain't did nothing that took us down. We just didn't get it done. But hold on, chill. Wait. Listen what I'm saying. You are because technically, and if we be honest, they were supposed to beat the Orlando Magic. That's just a series chill, and you know how this go. Sometimes you just play bad in a series, bro, and you lose. I believe that they just had a bad series to other guys, bro. I don't think that they was. I don't think they was a mismatch. I don't think they was the worst team, bro. I don't think they was, bro. Listen. Hold on. Listen. I'm just saying, bro. Listen. We've seen series, Chilltown. We've seen series.
Keep going.
We've seen series where the better team have lost. We just saw the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics were better than Miami Heat. They straight up lost to them niggas. So all I'm saying is, so now, and look what Boston's doing now. They ready to break the whole team up because the players didn't come up big. So they ready to break the whole team up. Hold on. Now think about this. So they don't even want to re-sign Jaylen Brown. They trying to find a move to trade him. right? You already gotten rid of Marcus Smart. All these dudes, you don't been to multiple conference finals. Now, any of us in here would say, nah, you don't break that up right now. You keep chipping away because you're right there. You was just in the finals. You right there. If anything, you might try to add a piece here, add a piece there, change the coach and get a more experienced coach for the situation because you went and got a rookie coach. But look what they doing, bro. They jumping off of the ship. They jumping completely off of the ship, basically, because the players came up small in the big moments in the NBA finals and then this year in the conference finals, bro. You don't do that. Now, to me, they made a huge mistake. They're going to realize that this year when it comes to the trenches.
Now, think of the logic of what you're saying. You're not wrong, and I 100% agree. But we also have to acknowledge the fact that Cleveland was tight on money at that point in time. They used up all their assets.
Bro, every league, hold on. Every team in the league, hold on. Every team in the league, hold on. Every team in the league is tight. Hold on. Every team in the league is tight on money. The Boston Celtics are tight on money. They're right there at the top of the NBA in spending. All I'm saying to you is this, bro. They overreacting. They won all those games this season. Chilltown sat up here and told you he thought that they was gonna come and go. They was coming out. Chilltown thought they was gonna win it last year. Hold on. That's what we thought. That was our expectations, bro.
When Milwaukee got bounced, when Milwaukee got bounced, I had the Boston Celtics winning the NBA.
Right, but our expectation. But listen, hold on. Hold on. And that's another thing. Just like he said with Milwaukee lose a series they ain't supposed to lose. They didn't do nothing stupid and say, you know what, we're gonna break the whole team up. You know what Milwaukee said? We're going to go get a different coach. We're going to bring all the guys back together, add a couple pieces on, and let's keep pushing. And they probably come back and win the chip this year. That's all I'm saying about LeBron. Listen, bro, I'm not saying LeBron was weak as far as the basketball player. I'm saying that he should have just gave it a little more time because they would have pushed through his greatness. The dude was too great to be denied, man. That's all I'm saying, bro. He was not going to be denied. If y'all think he was not going to be able to get through and get it done with that team, with the way the Boston Celtics was falling off, because the Boston Celtics, they had 1 year. And remember, the year they won the championship, them fools was going 7 games in the first round, bro. Come on, man. And listen, LeBron was giving them dudes. LeBron was giving them dudes a run for their money, man. Listen, a move.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
But
what you keep leaving out, Ticket, you keep leaving out stuff like the fact that when he won the league MVP in 2009, like he led the team in all of these categories. He shouldn't have had to do all that. This is what I'm saying.
But that's my point to you. You right, hold on. That's my point to you.
When you talk about Milwaukee, you talk about Milwaukee, those moves that they made, those moves were first-class moves. Magic Johnson is on record saying that one of the biggest mistakes that he made was letting Brook Lopez walk out the door.
That's in the aftermath of him seeing. Hold on. That's in the aftermath of him seeing Brook Lopez.
One of my best friends is a Laker fan. He hated watching Brook Lopez walk out the door.
That's in the aftermath.
Add that to the fact, Ticket, that when all they did was they also took out Eric Bledsoe and traded him for Drew Holiday. And it was obvious when Drew Holiday walked through the door, that dude is better than him. Not only is he a better player, he's a better fit.
But Chill, you're right. Hold on, Chill. But think about this. Hold on. But think about this. Chill. But think about. Hold on, Chill. Chill. Think about this. I want you to think about something. Chill. I want you to think about something, homie. But think about this. We looking at it from the aftermath, bro. We ain't looking at it at that time. Everybody wasn't kicking down their door to go get Drew Holiday at that time, bro. They wasn't looking at him like that because he played all those years with AD and didn't do nothing. In his prime years with AD and wasn't doing nothing. So think. I want you to think about that. We think about that after the fact. Hold on. And I'm telling you, they got him with a great player in Giannis, and everybody blossomed. So all I'm saying to you is that they could have did the same thing with LeBron James. It's only about tweaking here and there. Because when you lose a series, like hold on 1 second, SB. When you lose a series like that, bro, you don't panic. The Milwaukee Bucks got beat in the first round. They could have panicked and blew the team up, bro. They did. They brought all the guys back and they tweaked the outside, a couple of ruffles. That's what you would have did if you was the Cavs. Bro, if y'all gonna sit here and tell me that y'all don't think LeBron James was great enough to get that Cavs team a chip, that y'all telling me he ain't as great as y'all say he is, because I believe he was. I believe if he would have stayed, within the next 2 or 3 years, he would have been hoisting a trophy in Cleveland. Because Boston went to the NBA Finals, and listen, I'm gonna tell you, with Andrew Bynum and dudes hurt, he might have got the crack at Kobe that first year in the NBA Finals because Bynum was hurt in that finals, and Pau Gasol played like a pony. Bynum was hurt. Bynum was hurt. Ariza was hurt. By the time they got to that first finals, they lost to Boston in 2008. So I'm just saying, maybe if LeBron and them catch them, that year you're winning 60-something games, you catch them then, man, maybe you off them then. But all I'm saying to y'all is this: I don't like the fact that we sit up here and make it seem like these was all world moves before they made them. Those was underrated moves that turned out to be great moves after the fact. For example, they went and got Joe Ingles. That shit flopped. They went and got freaking this past season from Phoenix. That shit flopped. So those didn't look like great moves. If they win a chip, we saying, oh man, they're the greatest organization ever. Come on, man.
But Ticket, this the thing though. That's why I said it's the third level to franchise player superstardom, when it's like you found a diamond in the rough, you build around them. Those pieces, yes, they was underrated to the neck and eye, but to build it with Giannis, they turned to golden pieces, because when you look at Eric Bledsoe, he gave you what you wanted defensively, but he couldn't take care of the basketball and shoot consistently. Get Drew Holiday, he's the better defender, shoot better, and he's consistent with take care of the ball. Then you add a guy like Brook Lopez, who's great defensively, but can spread the floor and get Giannis room to operate. Now, I give you credit. Bobby Portis, I'm a Bulls fan. I didn't know Bobby Portis was going to be able to come and knock down shoot like that. They built him and turned into a better player. So I think, like, because the logic that you're saying, you're not wrong with the logic of what you're saying. I get the point. But we have to look at that. The pieces blossom more because of the situation they was in the start. They fitted. I think this is just a fit.
No, but because of how because of how Giannis played too, dog. But you got to think about this. You got to think about this too. It ain't LeBron at first. Early in his career, he wasn't the easiest person to play with because of his style. He dominates the ball. Even him and D Wade couldn't get it right at first because of how LeBron needs to play in order to control the game. So when you're other players, you can't really play your game because he has to play that game. And I'm not saying it doesn't work, because it worked for him. You see what I'm saying? But sometimes when you got those type of situations, bro, that's why. But they did. If you think about it, bro, Cleveland did, bro. Listen, they had one of the best defenses in the world. They had a solid offense during the season. They just broke down in the biggest moment in the playoffs against the Orlando Magic and the Boston Celtics, bro. Bro, listen, all I'm saying to you is this. We seen the Boston Celtics team right now, bro. This team was loaded up and down. They lost early. If Chilltown is the GM or the owner, is he trading the whole team and flipping that whole squad because they had a bad they lost in the finals last year and then they had a bad conference finals this year? No. He's making other changes. He's saying, okay, well, what can I see about the coaching? What about the coaching staff? Maybe I can add something here on the side that we didn't have. Add something there. He ain't making no drastic, unrealistic change.
Well, it's obvious we close. Like when I'm looking at Boston, it's obvious that we're close.
Right. So all I'm saying is this. Based off what I've seen from Cleveland, man, it wasn't like they won the championship. I mean, they went to the finals and then they tried to put a worse squad around him. They actually won more games. They actually got the MVP. They actually got the coach of the year. You win in 66 games, bro. That's annihilation. 2 years in a row, you win in 60 games. That's annihilating the league. How many teams you know won 60 games 2 years in a row in NBA history? So I want you to think about that. So just now, when you get to the 7-game series, now styles make fights. You run into the wrong style, that's your ass. I can give you that with the Atlanta Hawks. The Philadelphia 76ers ran into the wrong style, and the Hawks got that ass when Philly was supposed to have won that series. But they ran into the wrong style, got that ass, and then guess what? They broke that team up, and now that team will never be the same in Philly because of that whole series. That's when Ben Simmons went through that stuff, and the whole team went straight to hell. Now they scrambling, scratching for pieces, when what they should have did is got them two dudes in the room, made this right, and then fix that situation. That because those two had a future in building.
I would not have traded Ben Simmons. Hell no, I ain't trading Ben Simmons.
Chilltown, the same thing.
Wait, hold on. You're not trading Ben Simmons for
Harden? No, leave. The same thing with Orlando and Shaq. When Orlando lost in the finals. When Orlando lost in the finals.
Bottom of this.
I'm not trading. Listen, I'm paying Shaq and I'm hiring a new coach. When you fail like that, I'm not make drastic changes, bro. Because listen, with different coaching, that Orlando team potential was out of the world. It was out of the stratosphere, bro.
It was back in the Eastern Conference Championship. They had the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Come on, so Chilltown.
Number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference behind the Bulls.
Sometimes Chilltown.
Obviously weren't that far away.
Sometimes
you just switch. So if you the GM, you just switching the coach. That's what you're saying, Tiggy?
You gotta switch with it. Hold on, you gotta stick. Hold on.
Look at the Warriors.
When you see
Mark Jackson. Everybody love Mark Jackson. You switch Mark Jackson out of Steve Kerr, they can't believe.
You got here. Hold on.
He ain't talking about that. He's talking about when, like, so for example, when the Warriors lost to the Cavs in 16.
Cavs.
They didn't blow
Right.
that unit up.
Right.
They did not blow that unit up. No, they
Right.
didn't. They
Right.
did not blow
And
that unit
listen,
up.
No,
they
they
could've
didn't
blown
blow up. They didn't
could've
blow up the
blown it up.
core. They
Leave.
didn't blow up the core. No.
No. But I'm saying they could have leave. They could have did it, but they didn't. I'm saying smart GMs and smart people, they hold to their guns when they see.
ran out and got
that we
Kevin
got the- No. Listen. When I see that I got the potential, like how many years you seen the Dallas Mavericks just keep at it? They kept adding this piece, that
very long
piece,
time with Dirk. Yeah.
trying to put in the right pieces. They bring an older J Kid over.
Yeah.
This is after they went to the finals the first time with Avery Johnson. They got rid of Avery Johnson, right? I didn't like when they got rid of Avery Johnson. They got rid of Avery, right? And you start adding pieces, Chilltown. You go get an old J Kid. Everybody like, why they get an old J Kid? Veteran leadership, veteran know-how.
He was on that crew. He was on that crew for 3.5 years. So it wasn't like
No.
they
I'm
got him in the
talking about, but he wasn't on the first finals run. Is what I'm saying. I'm saying
he wasn't.
after they lost. I'm saying after they lost in the finals.
I think
This
they
is
had
the moves
Devin
they
Harris.
made. No, I'm saying, but this is the
They
moves
did.
they made. I'm saying these are the moves
Right.
they made. Then you go and draft JJ Barea. Then you go get
Tyson Chandler.
Karan
Sean
Butler,
Marion.
who didn't play.
Sean
You get
Marion.
older
Marion.
Sean Marion. But all
Right.
these pieces they got, bro, they just put it together and they just kept chipping away, bro. That's all. Hey, listen, that's all I'm saying, bro. When you great and Chilltown, this is the last thing I came on here to say something to you about, dog. You sick, man. Bro, we had a conversation today about Shaq and Tim Duncan, bro. Bro, for you to sit up there, I'm talking about on PC today.
Right.
For you to sit on the show, for you to sit up there, bro. And listen, I'm gonna say this: you can have a dude ranked higher than a dude. That don't mean he better than that dude. His resume might have been better, which
That's what I keep saying. Thank you,
Hold on, leave. His resume.
Wait,
So Timmy's resume might have been higher. Man,
Thank you.
if you had a draft today, Chilltown, I don't give a damn what you say. You're not taking Tim Duncan, a prime Tim Duncan over a prime Shaq.
Hell no.
So that's where me and you split hair. I'm gonna cook your ass on that tomorrow, Chilltown. That's where me and you split hairs, because when you really think about it, you say, okay, we talk
like
about
some
these dudes at
legend
their
of winning
best.
shit. That's what it
Ain't
sounds
no
like.
way in hell ain't nobody saying they taking a prime Tim Duncan over a prime Shaq, because a prime Shaq is unstoppable.
We went over that. We keep going, Ticket. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, he's unstoppable.
Ticket.
Unstoppable, Chilltown. And you can say, oh, well, what about the defense? He nullifies your defense because he takes you out offensively to the point where you can't really play D no more. Because now you got 2 or 3 fouls tacked on you early. You can't play D the same. He's already nullified.
Hold on, pause right there, Ticket, because I know for a fact you are a Kobe guy, and you know this because Shaq probably comes with a Shaq. He's dominant, but one-dimensional dominant. And in the fourth quarter, because you know how many times Kobe done saved him, and Kobe don't get his credit, where Shaq either had to be on the bench or Shaq was not dominant in the fourth because he could not be versatile or hit free throws. And Kobe dominated in the fourth quarter.
Let me ask you a question. Was Tim Duncan? Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Did Tim Duncan lose the NBA Finals because of the fourth quarter?
No. Well, he did.
He did. Shut your ass up.
He did.
Hold on, I'm gonna get his ass. I asked you again. Did Tim Duncan? Hold on. No, nigga. I don't want to hear that. Did Tim Duncan lose a NBA Finals because of his performance late in the fourth quarter?
No.
That's your goddamn lie. Hold on.
What
he
year?
lost the NBA.
What year?
They
Because he
lost
was on the bench. Go ahead, say
LeBron
it.
James. Hold on.
He was on the bench that year.
To LeBron. Hold on. To LeBron James, when he was missing them bunnies and missing them free throws, and Pop had to yank his ass because of how bad he was playing.
No,
now,
Pop,
you tell me. Hold on. Let me finish. Hold on.
Stop.
Let me finish. Hold on. I'm not lying. Tim Duncan missed the. Hold on. Leave. Go back and watch that game. Hold on. Not leave. SB. Go back and watch the game. Tim Duncan missed the bunny. He missed the. If he makes that bunny, they win. He missed the bunny. Hold on. He missed the bunny late, and then he was missing. Him and Kalai was missing free throws late. So let's keep it 100, bro.
Talking about Game 7?
I'm talking about, bro. I'm talking about to lose that series down the stretch. You don't remember? Hold on.
What game you talking about?
Hold on. Let me say this.
In 2013,
it was so bad. It was so bad. Pop did something he regret doing to this day. He yanked him. And when he yanked him, that opened up Chris Bosh getting that rebound and then the pass out. And then that's what gave LeBron and them the Game 7 in the championship. With Shaquille O'Neal, the reason why they was putting Shaquille O'Neal on the bench at certain times was because of foul trouble against the Indiana Pacers. Not because of his free throw woes, because Shaq was always the one who says, I make them when they count. And the coach was most of the time he was gonna leave Shaq in the game anyways, down the stretch. So all I'm saying to you, all I'm saying to you is this: you never saw Shaquille O'Neal lose a NBA Finals because of his poor performance in the fourth quarter. So
Kobe.
no, I didn't say that to you. I said because of his poor performance. When did you see Shaq lose the NBA Finals? Because he missed a layup, he missed a dunk, he missed a free throw.
Wait a minute,
What happened with the Pistons?
Ticket, you lost me, bro. Hold on, wait.
What happened with the
With the
Pistons?
Pistons, hold on. With the Pistons, they was getting smaller. With the Pistons, hold on.
You lost me.
With the Pistons, they was getting. Hold on, Shaq. Actually, hold on. With the Pistons, that had more to do with than Shaq. That was they locked down the whole perimeter game for the Lakers.
They Karl Malone.
Hold on. But then Karl Malone got hurt. You got to remember, and I love Kobe. That was a series Kobe was shooting all them crazy ass shots trying to prove he was the man. So you got to be honest about that series too.
Kobe shot.
He did.
So once he hit that game winner in game 2, you couldn't tell Kobe nothing for the rest of that series.
Kobe took blame for that series. Yeah, he did.
Right, and then he was trying to prove something against Tayshaun Prince in that series. So I don't really blame that series on Shaq. For you to say that.
Take a quick question, bro. Like, cause you talking about game 6 in 2013, right? When Kawhi
talking about the game with Tim Duncan. Look, Tim missed the bucket.
That was game 7. That was game. The one with Tim Duncan. That was game 7.
Hold on.
That was game 7.
But also, hold on. But in game 6, Tim wasn't playing well down the stretch, and Pop yanked his ass. And that's when Chris Bosh was able to get that rebound, bro.
Yeah,
that's the game Chris Bosh was able to get the rebound. Go back and watch that game down in the fourth quarter. Pop had to yank Tim because Tim wasn't playing well. Pop yanked Tim, and that was the dumbest move in NBA history to yank your superstar player with the finals on the line. Bro, I'm gonna tell you how bad it was. They had the trophy right there in the alleyway.
Yes, they did.
They had the trophy.
They were putting the tape. They were putting the rope around the court.
Chill. They had everything right there. Chill. They had everything right there. Chill.
They were putting the rope around the court before Ray Allen hit that shot. They were putting the rope around the court. It was done. The game was over.
Hey, chill. And I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar that if Timmy's in that game, Chris Bosh don't get.
Wait. Hold on. Take it. Hold on. Wait. Duncan had 30 in that game.
You're not hearing me. I didn't say that.
No, he saw the
I said in the fourth quarter, down the stretch, he was playing like garbage, bro. Tim Duncan came out like gangbusters in that game. He was balling early in that game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I ain't saying he wasn't. I'm talking about in the fourth quarter, down the stretch, Timmy was playing bad, bro. That's why he yanked him, dog.
Well,
reason why.
Hold on. Stop right here. Because we're talking about Tim Duncan and we're talking about Shaq. I want to make sure we clear, Ticket. You are a man that stands on truth. You always talk about tell the truth. Mm-hmm. If I can't talk about my people and be honest talking about my people, then I ain't telling the truth.
But Shaq was the most dominant. Hold on, Shaq was the most dominant player in the history of the NBA.
And Tim Duncan was the most consistent.
Hold on, Chill.
With that being
let me ask you this:
what
did Shaq do to Tim Duncan?
Not only was he what did Shaq do to Tim Duncan?
What did he play? Hold on, Chill. Hold on.
Whatever Shaq did to Tim Duncan did it to him too.
That's a lie.
That's not a lie. Let me tell you why that's not a lie. So let's rewind the clock. No, it's not. Let's rewind the clock to get back to 1999 when they swept them out the playoffs. Remember when you talked about how Shaq did him in the playoffs? Tim Duncan did the same thing to him with a lesser unit, by the way. He did it to him with a lesser unit. Now, fast forward to 2003. He also did the same thing to him. In the closeout game, you talk about the fourth quarter, you talk about a Tim Duncan, I think he went 33-17 in that game 6 when they ended the Lakers on their home floor. Same logic when you rewind the clock back to 1999. I think he went 33-16 in that game, and I think he had 14 of those 33 in the fourth quarter. So with that being said, with that being said, the same thing that Shaq did to Tim Duncan, which was later on, Tim Duncan did to him too. Yeah. The problem is,
Chilltown. I'm gonna give you a little revisionist history. They played 62 games in their career. Shaq has the winning record between the two. Shaq is 33, and Tim won 29 out of those games. Right? Hold on. Now they both is equal in the playoffs. They both got 15 wins against each other in the playoffs, right? But Chilltown, from the first time they played each other, Chilltown, Shaq was serving this dude. Their very first game against each other, November the 13th, 1997, Shaq had 34 and 15. Tim Duncan had 19 and 13. The next time they played, Shaq had 23. Tim Duncan had 21. The next time they played, Shaq had 28. Tim Duncan had 26. The next time they played, Shaq had 26 and 13. Tim Duncan had 21 and 15. The next time they played, Shaq had 28 and 10. Tim Duncan had 26 and 11. The next time, Shaq 26 and 12.
That sounds pretty similar.
Hold on, no. But Shaq is beating him every game. Hold on, chill. But no. Hold on. You're not listening. Shaq is beating him every time and damn near scoring and rebounds. Hold on. Only a few times. No, hold on. I'm saying it again. They first game, Shaq goes off for 34. Tim Duncan has 19. Second game, Shaq 23, Tim Duncan 21. Third game, Shaq 28, Tim Duncan 26. Next game, Shaq 26, Tim Duncan 21. Next game, Shaq 28, Tim Duncan 26. Next game, Shaq 26, Tim Duncan 21. Hold on. They both were double-digit rebounds every single game of those. One of those games, they both was tied for 16. The first game, Shaq had 15, Tim Duncan had 13 boards. And then after that, it took 7 games for Tim Duncan to finally outscore Shaq 25 to 21.
Are we talking about buckets?
Then the next game in 99 they played, he outscored them 21 to 16. But the very next time, Shaq came for that ass and got him 36 to 33. Then the next time
don't take it. Why you ain't say Duncan had 37 to 14? You gonna skip over that though. You gonna skip over that. You think you a slick dog. Ticket think he a slick dog. No, say 37.
No, my bad. Hold on. I accidentally scrolled down. You right. Hold on. That's the second game out of 10 games that Tim Duncan outscored this dude 2 out of the first 10 games. So that's 8-2. Hold on. So let me go to the next one. The next one, the 11th time. The 11th time they played. Hold on. The 11th time they played, Shaq 32, Tim Duncan 28. The 12th time they played, Shaq 31, Tim Duncan 29. You can read it with me. The next time they played,
these numbers sound the same, yo. What you telling me? You're like
Shaq is beating him. Hold on. But chill out. But Shaq is out. Hold on. Keep going. All I'm saying is Shaq is outscoring this dude every time. Is what I'm saying.
These numbers.
Shaq is outscoring him every. Hold on. So Shaq, chill. For the times they played each other, Shaq won the most games, and most of the time he outscored that dude in those games. These is facts. I'm looking at it right here in front of my face. I'm looking at it. And then Chilltown, when they were in their primes, and what year would you say that Shaq and Kobe was winning championships? Tim Duncan got Shaq one time. He got him 40 to 19 in 2001. And then guess what Shaq came back and did? He came back and beat that dude 35 to 9. Then he came back and got him 26 to 15. Then he got him 25-24.
Talk about
then finally Tim comes back 25-17.
Talk about 02.
Now the numbers that you just gave me, Ticket,
I like
those
how
are legit.
y'all went to 99.
Those numbers are legit. But I want you to remember, Ticket, who we talking about now. We talking about Shaq in 2001 on a unit in. We talking about Shaq on a unit in Los Angeles. That was a freight train with no brakes. Nobody was beating that team. Right? Nobody was beating that team. But with that also being said, I'd like to go back to those teams that Tim Duncan was on, where he was basically the catalyst to those teams. That unit that was built around Shaq was so much better, man. That team was so much. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on this because essentially what this is the face-off. I'm going to get with Ticket tomorrow morning when it's 2,000 people in here, and we're going to do it again 100%. But this is essentially what this is. This is the
I'm gonna be at work, man. I ain't gonna be able to see it, bro.
We'll get it on again tomorrow.
Pull up for that one.
I might have to get it.
We'll get it on. We'll get it on again tomorrow.
But quick thing, Chill. So Chill. I know you a big fan of these all. I know you a big fan of these all NBA teams and all these accolades. So, hey, Rudy Gobert, how many all NBA teams he got? Not non-defensive.
I think Rudy Gobert is like a 4-time All-League NBA guy. Yeah, 4-time All-NBA guy, something like that.
Ray Allen has 2. Rodman has 2. Vince Carter only has 2.
Right.
Make it make sense. Rudy Gobert has more All-NBA selections than at least
positional, and it depends on
I understand that. Listen, now let's remind ourselves it's 3 All-NBA teams.
Right.
It's 3 All-NBA teams. How long has it been 3 All-NBA teams, Chill?
Since I think 80, I think since 88, 80, 87 or 80, 86 or 87, one of them two.
He's got more All-NBA selections than Vince, Ray Allen, D. Rose, Stojakovic, Rodman.
You got to remember number one, the era that Rodman played in at the 4. Number 2, you got to remember who Rudy Gobert, the era that he played in at the 5, the defensive force that he was in. Vince Carter, you got to remember the era that he played in with the guards that he had to play with and play against during that time with Brian, Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd, Steve Francis, and Baron Davis, and Chauncey Billups. And I mean, I could keep going with all of these guards. Ray Allen.
Another thing.
Reggie Miller was around during that time. I mean, I could keep going with the guards.
I found out how fraudulent that AC Green record is, man. Like, it's very, very fraudulent record. He was getting in games and playing like 1 or 2 possessions and then subbing right out. Like, I remember how fraudulent that record is, man. That record is very. But
Hey fellas,
real
listen.
quick,
I got some people that's waiting in the back. So I'm
Will
Chamberlain documentary, Goliath. That's the name of it. Goliath. Watch it on Showtime.
Just so you guys know, and there's a reason I get roasted when people tell me, "Yo, Wilt Chamberlain ain't top 5." Just so you dudes know, Wilt Chamberlain in the 14 years that he played in the NBA, he never fouled out of 1 game. I just want to put that on your mind. Just put that. That's what I'm gonna say about that. And that's just one of many things that I know about it. I'm just saying.
Is that because nobody challenged him though?
Come on, Leaf. There's no way that nobody didn't challenge him. No. Never fouled out of 1 game. I just want to put that on your mind.
Nobody went up against him. Nobody went up at the contest.
But they was going at Bill Russell. No, I ain't trying to hear that. All right, yo. Kel, what up, brother? I apologize for I had some unexpected company.
No, you all good. You can hear me all right.
Yeah, you hot. Yes, you are. You hot.
Okay, sir. First of all, big fan of you. Been watching you for a while. No problem,
Appreciate
man.
it.
So you was talking about franchise players, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in terms of a franchise player, at least for me, because what I said in that super chat is like for a franchise player, you got to be like the embody, like the end all be all for your team. It's like a LeBron, like Moses, and all these other guys. It's like that. Now I'm gonna ask about a few players, and you know, see if it's like franchise or not. When Lamar Odom got drafted in like 2000, because I think he was a 4th pick. Do you think he was a franchise player when he got drafted?
I think they took him with the number 2 pick. I think that he was the best player on that Clipper team. He was their franchise.
Right.
The problem was with the guys, it just didn't. I don't think that they developed that team the way they should have with Vinny Del Negro at the helm. I mean, they had a lot of young talent and it looked good on the surface. It just didn't materialize. But he definitely was that 100%.
Okay, for sure.
Definitely was.
Okay, yeah. I used to think that too. Because Odom, I remember he was young coming in. He was coming in hot too. But like, yeah, just to build it, the unit they built around him and all that. And then, I just didn't think it worked.
Right.
And people on. Another thing too, because I'm gonna talk about Hakeem, because he's definitely a franchise player. When he got drafted, I know they already had Ralph Sampson in there. Was like from like 82. I think that's when they drafted him. Okay, 83. Okay. Did you think that he was already gonna be like the franchise, or they were trying to like build around them too? Because obviously Ralph Sampson, he got like knee problems, and obviously that kind of lowered his career or ended it. So, and it also became Hakeem's team. But like, was it ever a point was like, okay, it's mainly Hakeem, or is it mostly like Ralph Sampson, or like, how do you think
when he first showed up, that was going to be a tandem between these two. But then it became obvious later on. Okay, Olajuwon's the guy.
Right.
Olajuwon is the guy that we built in this unit around. It was after 80. It was around 87.
Okay.
They played the Lakers in the playoffs in the Western Conference semifinals. And Olajuwon goes 49 and 26 in Game 7. It's like, all right, this looks like the guy that's going to be this guy is going to be the guy that's going to be our guy moving forward. Then Ralph Sampson started getting injured, like 88. He got hurt 89. I mean, he started to break down, and then it became apparent that Olajuwon was the guy. He was the guy walking in the door because he was the best player in college, and everybody knew that. Right. Just like Ralph Sampson was the best player in college. But as time went on, it became obvious that Olajuwon was the guy.
Okay, right. I hear you on that. I'm gonna just follow up with one more thing because I know you got people waiting. I ain't gonna hold up too much of your time. Okay, because this is a question for me personally because I'm from Cleveland. You know what I mean? I'm a Cleveland guy. I seen all this. When you said that, I think you said on the one time that you said the Cavs had no chance whatsoever against Orlando. Me personally, from when I watched it, I think that we did, considering the fact that I think 08-09, that's probably the best team LeBron had at that point before he went to Miami. But because like obviously you said they had no shot because Dwight Howard, nobody guarding him. Me personally, I feel like Cleveland had a shot because that's like the best thing, best unit. But you know what I mean? So
my question though is why did James have to do as much as he did though? I mean, that 08-09 team that won 66 games. Ticket and I have gotten into this more than once, more than twice. The fact that James led that team in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. There is no player who won the league MVP and took his team to the conference finals who had to do that much. None of these guys, Jordan didn't have to do that much. Olajuwon didn't have to do that much. Jabbar didn't. None of these guys had to do that much in order to get their team to the NBA championship. The fact that he had to do that much told me everything about that unit and how much they depended on him in order to win. That's all that was about. J-Rob, come on back.
No, I hear you, man. Yeah. No, it's just my opinion, you know what I mean? But I totally respect that. But I just feel like Dwight on the Magic, I don't think he getting enough credit because he was dominant. Obviously, don't want that too many centers.
That was a good team too, man.
It was a really good team.
That 09 team was a damn good team.
It really was a good team. I'm being biased. I'm from Cleveland. You know, I wanted my team to win.
Right.
But like team, they're a good team. Yeah, Dwight, and then having all them shooters and Jameer Nelson, who was an all-star.
I don't think Jameer Nelson played in that series. I think
he didn't play that. He didn't play that.
He didn't play that series. But it was obvious. It was obvious watching that Orlando team. Number one, Jeff Van Gundy outcoached Mike Brown in that series.
Correct.
Yes, he did. He outcoached Mike Brown in that series, and that had a lot to do with why they lost. He didn't. He didn't adjust the schemes defensively. He didn't adjust. He didn't change the offense. He didn't slow the game down. He allowed Orlando to speed them up. I definitely believe he got outcoached in that series, 100%.
Right. Yep. I respect that, but I'm gonna let you get the other people.
All right, Cal, good to talk to you, brother. You know where to find me at, my man. Out. Hey, where J-Rob at? That's who I get. Find J-Rob. Get J-Rob back. That's who I want to talk to. That's who I want to talk to. See if we can get J-Rob back in. What up?
What's up, man?
What up?
What up? Question, because I saw this on the panel earlier and it kind of made me mad. I don't know if that was today, but I did watch this part or segment earlier. Do you think Wembanyama needs to be a top 10 player or else he didn't do enough in his career?
The expectation that I have for him as a number one overall draft pick is that unit is going to be built around him, and he is going to anchor that team in going deep into the playoffs and competing for NBA championships. That's my expectation for him as the number one overall pick on a unit that was at the bottom of the Western Conference. They're going to build that unit around him, and I know Greg Popovich in San Antonio, they're going to build that unit around him, and he is going to be the anchor in them getting close to the NBA championship or winning the NBA championship. He's going to be the anchor in that.
That's fair. I also wanted to ask you another question. Who's the better scorer all time, Carmelo or Kawhi?
Carmelo Anthony or Kawhi Leonard? You asked me that. I think you asked me that yesterday. I said,
I did?
Carmelo Anthony, yeah, and I think because Carmelo Anthony, he did it longer.
Oh, my bad. I did ask you that. And also, I just wanted to kind of ask you a question because I was having a debate earlier with somebody about LeBron and Bird because somebody said that Bird was the best small forward of all time. And when I argued about that, when I argued them, they kept bringing up 2011, and that's fair. Right. That's a mark on LeBron's career that's never going to be wiped out or defended, right?
Right.
I went on to bring up Larry Bird. He had how he had 3 years, kind of the beginning of his career. Well, he really kind of struggled in the playoffs, if you remember. Like the first, like not the first three, but like 3 years earlier in his career, Larry
Bird,
five.
How about the first five?
First five,
how about that?
Yeah, he struggled in the playoffs. He dropped.
He wasn't awesome.
His efficiency went down. Yeah. And they just kept bringing up 2011, and I feel like because I'm starting to learn more because I'm kind of going around talking basketball. I feel like people they look at LeBron and they look at all the great things that he does, and they look at all that and they just ignore it because he's LeBron, because he stacked the deck, or because he's being compared to Jordan. And I feel like if people were being honest, and he would easily be at worst the second best player of all time, and they're just not, and that kind of infuriates me. So I kind of wanted to ask you, like, the final point. Why do you keep bothering to talk to these people about LeBron? Because they're never going to change.
Well, the reason why is because, you know, as a YouTuber, as the face of this is what people want to talk about, and unfortunately, that's what I have to do. I got to get the people what they want. So when you get a minute, when you get a minute, go back and watch the '83. It's on YouTube. Go back and watch the '83 semifinals between Milwaukee and Boston, and you'll have a different idea. Not only was he not good, they got smoked in that series.
Yeah,
and that was largely due to Bird.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, Sneed Mobile Tech, I'm not saying Braun can do no wrong. I'm saying that Braun can also do good. But, you know, people don't like to bring that up. So
there's a huge difference.
That's really all I wanted to say, though.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. You know where to find me at. I only got one question. I just got one question. Is Pluto a planet? Yes or no?
I'll ask Siri one more time. And whatever Siri tells me on this phone, that's what the answer will be.
J-Rob, it's a planet, Rob. J-Rob.
Is Pluto a planet? It says Pluto is a dwarf planet, so it's a dwarf planet.
Okay,
that's
so it's a planet.
It's just not a part of the, you know, the original joint. You know what I'm saying?
So it's not really a part of the solar system. Not really. It's out there.
I ain't gonna lie. Maybe one day we just gotta get on. We gotta get on your channel. We really maybe gotta get some of the science guys in the chat. Really just debunk. Let's just debunk Pluto for a good hour.
Get Pluto out here. J-Rob.
Some people really think it's a real debate. Shout out to Cozy Dudes. That is the real. This is the real debate. So,
what up, J-Rob? What's man, J-Rob in the house.
Yes, Unc, I appreciate you coming on the show. I saw you was live, so I gotta pull up on Chill real quick.
What's up, yo?
I got some
franchise players. What up?
If we're talking about franchise players, that is a good conversation to go into what I want to go into.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you about the Los Angeles Clippers,
mm-hmm.
because now it is clear that they are going to go they're probably going to get James Harden,
which I hate, by the way.
I want to know about that. But my question is, if they get James Harden and this thing doesn't work out, let's say, because I think if they get James Harden this year, it'll be win or bust. I don't think they would get a 2-year window. I think this season becomes win or bust.
Right.
If they can't get it done, will this be the biggest failure from a superstar and an organization of just trying to win a championship? And if so, how far does this set back the Clippers if they don't win a championship in this next window because of the fact that they gave up so many assets in order to get PG? So,
well, I'm glad you brought that part up in terms of the assets. So let's start with what they'll have to do in order to get James Harden. Well, I'm really not interested in giving up a lot to get James Harden, but they're going to have to give up some integral pieces in order to get James Harden, which is going to set them back. I personally don't think that he's going to end up with the Clippers because I don't think Philadelphia letting them go. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that they do. They're going to have to. The Clippers are going to have to give up significant pieces in order to get them. Number one, number two, Kawhi Leonard, J-Rob. I'm on record saying this. I think Kawhi Leonard is going to be out of the league in 2 years because I don't think his body going to hold up. I don't think he's going to hold up 2 more years. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that he's going to hold up 2 more years. Add that to the fact that PG, Paul George is also another one who has underperformed. That's what this Clipper team has actually been. This has been a team of being injury prone and underperforming over the last 4 years. I'm on record saying Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they are what Paul George and Kawhi Leonard were supposed to be. I agree. That's what I think. That's what I think those two are. And now what you're going to do, in addition to that, is your unit is going to be depleted, and you're going to add James Harden to this unit, who we've seen in the playoffs, who we've seen become a playoff choker. That's who he is. His production in the playoff decreases. It decreases for one reason and one reason only. He doesn't take care of his body. And now he's trying to start to take care of his body, but it's too late. We're at a point now in James Harden. We're in year 14. We've seen the best of him. We already know who he is. So to answer your question, if these three guys were to get together with Russell Westbrook, who I think is actually a better fit, I'm not really feeling James Harden on the crew. I'd much rather go with Russ, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George.
Honestly, me too. Me too.
I'd much rather do that. But if we went with these four and they didn't win it, I don't think it would be the biggest failure, simply because I see what Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were. So this thing was already a travesty. So now you want to add James Harden to it. All you're doing is adding to the travesty already. I don't think it would be something that would be a huge failure. It's already been that anyway.
Well, for one, I'm gonna say I don't understand why James Harden would want to go to the Clippers. One, because he's been on on record saying that he wants to go to a place where he has more basketball freedom. He doesn't really want to be like that John Stockton type of point guard. He really wants to still be able to be himself. Right. I don't know how he's that with his George and
he's not.
Kawhi Leonard. He's not going to be that. But maybe he's obviously he's accepting that. Two, the only reason why I would push back in terms of how massive of a failure it is because of the fact that if they don't win it this year, Chill, I don't think there's too many teams. If you wanted to consider trying to get some sort of assets back for Kawhi or Paul George, I honestly don't think there's going to be too much of a market for either of the players if one of them gets hurt. Now, obviously, do I think the New York Knicks this year specifically probably should have went out and tried to bring in a Paul George, knowing his injury history, but a desperation move, I think it would have worked out. But I do feel like going through another season, especially with the history of the two players, it could be possibly a big failure because of the repercussions after the fact. And that's why I would think it'd be such a failure, because of the assets you have given up. And if you give up, let's just say the Clippers give up 2 more first rounders for James Harden, you're going to this new stadium in Inglewood, California, with, to be honest, Chill, you won't have a phenomenal team to field.
We're trotting out Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, who I hope is still there, and Paul George, who I hope is still there. I actually like Paul George with the Knicks in a complimentary role. I don't think he would have to do much because Jalen Brunson, because RJ Barrett, which they would probably have to give up RJ Barrett, but Jalen Brunson, maybe Julius Hart. Josh Hart. I think that this unit with Paul George in a complimentary role, which he's already said that he's probably not a number 1 on the championship team. I think him in the complimentary role on that unit, I think he does. I think he makes them a lot better.
Paul George is great on any contender. Yeah, I think Paul George is good on. I think Paul George makes any contender better as a piece, just because, you know, he can do everything on the court. I mean, his game is what it is. I also feel like if I'm the owner of the Clippers, Chill, after this season, let's just say we don't even go to the second round. Let's say we don't get to the second round. I'm jumping out of the airplane with my parachute, because it's nothing else you can do. And so for me, I think there's not a team in the NBA with more pressure going into this season than the Los Angeles Clippers. It almost makes me nervous for them, because I love Kawhi Leonard as a player. I love Paul George as a player.
Yep.
But I do know the implications and what could possibly be said if this doesn't get done. It could be a catastrophe.
J-Rob, what evidence over the last 4 years with the Clippers have you seen to suggest that this is going to work?
I haven't, and that's the problem. That's the problem.
Because I'm looking at this unit, and I'm looking at what Paul George has been. I'm looking at what Leonard has been. I'm looking at what Russell Westbrook actually looked good.
Yeah.
When he got over on that unit, because he gave them a guy who is a primary ball handler. He could take that responsibility off of Kawhi Leonard. He could take that responsibility off Paul George, and not only just take that responsibility off them, he can actually preserve them. So when we get late in the game, when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, now they preserve where they can now get the ball, and you can take Russ and you can hide him in the corner. You can take Russ and you can play him off the basketball. But now you want to bring in James Harden, who has shown over the course of his career that when we get to these stretches, he is going to fold. That's what's going to happen to him. He is going to fold. So I'm out. I'm out. I'm a big Kawhi Leonard fan, I'm out on the Clippers. I've been out on James Harden years ago. But what I want to ask you, I'm glad you up here.
Yeah. Okay. Come on, give it to me. I'm listening. Pause.
Is the running back over in the NFL?
Oh, we want to talk football. Oh my God, thank God. I've been wanting to talk football for a minute. I haven't been on gridiron enough, so I'm so glad you just asked me a football question. So, listen, I think this is one of the biggest travesties in the game that I love more than any sport in the world. For one, I think this was sometimes almost it feels like a setup, like the NFL and its owners and the league set this up to happen this way, because you know what? You know who they used as the sacrificial lamb to set this thing up on a platter? They used Ezekiel Elliott and Jerry Jones. They said, we're going to let Jerry Jones pay Zeke this phenomenal amount of money as a running back, and we're going to watch his production drop, and the cap hit get higher every year as the production drops. Yep. And it's going to scare the rest of everybody else to change the exact market on the running back.
Right.
And I think it's horrible because it's a devalue to the position. You got guys like Saquon Barkley and Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler. These guys need to get paid. At the end of the day, if you don't want to pay them over 5 years, you can do something in the sense of, a lot on the front in the first year, and then you can make it a 3-year deal that makes sense. And I hate to say to you, Zeke, as like it's his fault, because it's not his fault that he got paid. He 1,000% deserved that contract. Right. He 1,000% deserved the contract. However, as he got older, running backs are the one position in sports that over the years this player will deteriorate. There's not a lot of running backs playing till they're 33, 32, 30, just because of the wear and tear on the position, which is why a lot of teams now are adopting the running back by committee scheme, because you have multiple guys, less wear and tear, you can kind of load manage your stable. But at the end of the day, Chilltown, Saquon Barkley doesn't just pop out of nowhere.
Right.
Christian McCaffrey doesn't come out of nowhere. Alvin Kamara doesn't come out of nowhere. And Austin Eckler does not come out of nowhere. These are talents at this position. They are the best of the best at the position. They deserve to be paid as much. And it's crazy that that's crazy, because if you told me 10 years ago, Chilltown, and I think you would agree with this too, huh? If you would have told us 10 years ago that we're going to be in a generation where the tight end is going to get paid more than the running back on a year-per-year basis.
He's more valued than the ball carrier. He's more valued than the primary ball carrier. Oh my God.
I would have said, are you crazy? I was like,
what I'm thinking about when I think about Saquon Barkley, I think about a guy who phenomenal talent, ridiculous production, only except he's injury prone. And the fact that the running back position, on average, 3 years, that's what I'm getting out of my running back. On average, I'm getting 3 years. Now, I come from the era of the workhorse running back. I come from the Eddie George. I come from the Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, a guy that's going to run for you for 10 years, right? I remember that dude. I remember Holmes. I remember Priest Holmes. I remember guys like that that's going to run for you for years. That's not what the game is today, unfortunately. However, that does not completely eliminate the running back. Christian McCaffrey has proven that I do more than just carry the football. You can involve me in
100 receptions. 100 receptions.
I can do way more than just line up in the eye and just run up the A gap. I can do way more than that, right? I can do way more than just line up in the I formation and run around the side. I can do way more than that. You can run me out the backfield, right? I can line up as a receiver. I do much more than that. However, I don't appreciate the idea of the running back position just being completely devalued. We need the ball carrier, but I do understand where the Giants are coming from, because we're talking about a guy who he wants us to invest in him another 4 or 5 years at an astronomical number, and I'm not sure if he's going to hold up physically, because over the last 2 of the last 3 years he hasn't proven that he can. That's my issue.
Listen, Chill. I hear that point. But I don't feel the Giants at all, actually. I do not feel them. I'm going to tell you why I don't feel them. Because you just gave Daniel Jones $40 million to play quarterback.
Guaranteed.
And guaranteed dollars. Chilltown, he threw for 15 touchdown passes. Granted, I'm gonna cop him out and say he did not have a great receiving core in his room, but he threw 15 touchdown passes. And honestly, that offense last year was heavily predicated on the success of 26.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, I'm not willing. If I'm willing to give one guy $40 million to hand the ball off to my running back, I may not have to pay him for 5 years, but I'm going to pay him for 3 years. I'm gonna give him somewhere to front. I'm gonna front load this contract where the first year 1 and year 2 you get the lump sum, and then on the back end you get the rest of the guarantees and incentives, because ultimately this engine wasn't going off of Daniel Jones. The most valuable player on my offense was not Daniel Jones. It was Saquon Barkley.
It was running the O through him, 100%. They was running the O
Everything
through
went
him. Yes, they were. They were running the O through him.
And what Brian Daboll did a great job of doing that I feel like people don't talk about enough is he made it so simple. Daniel Jones, let's put you in read option sometimes. Let's use your legs. You're good at running the football. So we're gonna put you in read options with Saquon. So we're gonna be able to use you in that way. We're not gonna ask you to do too much in the passing game. It wasn't too complex for him. And for him to being paid franchise money, but yet you're still at odds with Saquon Barkley, I just can't understand that. Because listen, your backup quarterback is Tyrod Taylor. I could ask Tyrod Taylor to do a lot of the similar things that you asked Daniel Jones to do. No offense to Daniel Jones.
Right.
I could ask Marcus Mariota to do some of the simple things that Brian Daboll asked him to do. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be too harsh on Daniel Jones. I'm more so, this is not an indictment on Daniel Jones, because I still think he has a lot of talent. This is an indictment on the Giants for not paying a guy like Saquon Barkley after he's giving you so much this year in his production and his value. So, and he was healthy.
That's the problem right there, J-Rob. I think the biggest issue that they're having right now is the fact that we have to invest all of this money in a guy who we're not sure that's going to stay healthy. Because I can say the same thing. I watched Troy Aikman throw 11 touchdowns. Meanwhile, they was at odds with Emmitt Smith. I watched Troy Aikman throw 11 touchdowns in a season and throw 10 interceptions, but they was at odds with Emmitt Smith about not paying him. So I understand. And we talk about it in a guy like Daniel Jones, who, I mean, there's a reason why he's called Danny Dimes. There's a reason why he's called Danny Dimes. He might not be Aaron Rodgers or anybody like that good. But remember too, J-Rob, and I know this sounds crazy to you, but the New York Giants organization, the brass of the New York Giants, are on record saying, quote, "We have done everything we can to screw this kid up." Everything. So they have not given this guy a legit shot. Last year was the first year that they actually gave him a legit shot when giving him a premier running back. I think the Giants receiving core was garbage, 100%.
I agree.
I think their receiving core was garbage. But if they could actually continue to build around him, I think there's some good years left with Daniel Jones. I don't really know how many more years I'm going to get out of Saquon Barkley, because I feel like the workhorse running back, the guy that's going to run for me for 10 years and carry the football 25, 30 times a game, I think that guy is over. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I do think I got at least two. I think I got at least 2 good years of Saquon, so I'm going to pay him for them 2 good years. And the only other thing I got to say about Daniel Jones, and I got to be honest about it, like I said to you before, I think Daniel Jones is talented, and I don't have no problem with him being their quarterback. My issue is the money that they gave him. And it's not that I don't think anybody should be paid. I'm never going to disrespect somebody getting paid. You're getting paid what they think you're worth. Right. I just think you're getting paid at the expense of a guy like Saquon, who to me has just been so much more valuable than him. And not only that, to give him 40, like, let's be real. If I'm the owner of the Giants and Daniel Jones says, I want 40 million, I want this franchise, I want this 40 million.
Kick rocks. Right? Kick rock. You like kick rocks.
Bro, let's see what the market, I would really say, let's see what the market says then. Let's see where you can get $40 from. Let's just see where you can get $40 million.
$40. Let's see who'll pay more than $40 for you.
Let's see who's going to give you $40 million. I would literally call his agent's bluff. Okay, let's go. Because I look at it like this. If you walk and I got to let Saquon walk, that means I'm tanking for the #1 pick this year. And guess who I'm going to be getting? Caleb freaking Williams. So to me, I would have called the bluff and be like, let's see what happens, man. For real.
I can
straight up.
I can definitely dig it. So
but Chill, I got one more question for you, because then I gotta go. I got an Among Us game I gotta play on my stream with the guys. But my final question to you is this. It's an NBA question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like, and this is obviously about my glorious King LeBron James, you know, we got to talk LeBron James. In your heart, do you think the roster they put together, barring health, let's say everybody stays healthy, and obviously what you saw last year, do you give the Lakers a legitimate shot to win the West and potentially go to a finals? Or do you think the window is officially closed?
This unit is going to go as far as Anthony Davis takes them, period.
Okay.
I'm convinced in that. He's got to be their guy. As good as James is, at 39 years old, my best player, James should not be my best player at 39 years old. That should not be the case. This unit, but when they at the trade deadline, this unit, and I think I mentioned this on PC. We was on the panel, and they was 15-7 when they made all of those trades. They had the best defense in the league. We didn't really get an opportunity to see what this unit looked like.
Right.
Now we're going to get a training camp to see what D'Lo, Vando, AD, James, Rui, Reeves. We're going to get an opportunity to see what these dudes look like. We're going to get them in training camp. We're going to have a season. Anthony Davis, can he hold up? The $1 million question is, can he hold up? I don't know if he can hold up. But what I do know is, as far as this team's going to go, is the strength of Anthony Davis's back.
I agree.
We're going to go as far as he can take us. Just like in Philadelphia, they're going to go as far as Embiid can take them. They're going to go as far as Anthony Davis is going to take them. James is a complimentary player at this point. Do not get confused with the 28-29 a game that you saw, because he'll do that in stretches, and then he'll break down for a week or 2 weeks. Then he'll do it again in stretches, and then he'll break down for 2 or 3 weeks, and then he'll rest, and then he'll do it again. So it's obvious that what I still have, I still could do it. I just can't do it.
Can't do it for the same continuous.
No, that's why you're here. That's why you're here, and I should not have to do that. So these other guys, D'Lo, Reeves, Rui, all of these guys are now going to step up. And the fact that we get to see these guys in a training camp, I'm loving the fact that they're running it back.
I will have to admit, I think they're probably going to be. I know people are not going to be surprised if they make a splash, but I know nobody's really counting them to win it all. And I think there's going to be they have a legitimate shot, because I think the greatest thing about this Lakers unit this year, compared to all the other, compared to all the other teams, even the championship, the 2020 championship year. This team has so many other guys that can go get their own bucket more than I think. If I look at the landscape of LeBron's career, just multiple role players who can do multiple things off the dribble and getting their own shot. I don't think LeBron's had a team like this before. And I know D'Angelo Russell got a lot of crap for how he played in the playoffs. He wasn't that great. I'm not going to sit here and he actually
was, J-Rob. He just wasn't good in that Nugget series.
In that Nugget series, yes. He was good up until the Nugget series.
In the Warriors series, he was good in the Memphis series. So.
Excuse me. Yes. He was bad in the Western Conference Finals. And see, let me check myself too, because you see, that's recency bias right there that I'm talking about. Because he was great in 2 series, and of course I say he wasn't. D'Lo, I'm sorry for saying that. He wasn't great in the Western Conference Finals, but you know what I do think is great about this situation? 1, I think he'll have learned from that. And 2, he's going to have to compete with Gabe Vincent for the starting 1 position next season.
He is not just getting that job handed to him.
He's not getting that, and I think that is going to be great for how he plays, because what do they say? Pressures makes diamonds. And I think this team is going to be competitive. I think that camp is going to be competitive, and I think this team is going to be great. And shout out to Van for bringing up D'Lo's poor defense. I don't think his defense is that great, but a guy like Gabe Vincent will make you play defense, because you know that he will go out and guard every night, and because he will go out and guard every night, Darvin Ham will just sit you and let Gabe play. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to see what they look like going into this year.
Absolutely. J-Rob, thanks for pulling up, brother.
Of course. I'm definitely back again, man. Yes, sir. I'll probably see you.
I'll let you do. You know where to find me at, brother. Out.
Sir.
Travio, what up? You. I had him, I didn't. See if we can get Trav back. I got a couple super chats real quick. Let's see here. Chill. What do you think happens if the Lakers win in 04? Do they stay together and run it back, for a few more finals runs, or was the relationship over for? I'll tell you what, JG, I think Malone was over. I'm not sure if Gary Payton comes back, but Dr. Buss has a decision to make. He's got a huge decision to make, because if they win it, you can't break this unit up. You'd be crazy. They would have to get Shaq on a shorter term deal, but I don't think that they break that unit up. No, but I do think that I think Ori was already gone. No, he wasn't. Ori was still there. Malone would have been gone, but I think Shaq and Kobe stay together for a little while longer. I do believe that. No doubt about that. So, toast to Ghost. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. Salute to you too. Angie Carr tapped in with a super chat. She tells me, hypothetically, if the league was constructed the same, do you honestly believe LeBron would have gotten over the hump in 2011 with the Cavs? No, I don't. Because even though the moves that Ticket made a really good point, the moves that Milwaukee was making, they didn't look great at the time, but they turned out to be gems. Well, some of those moves were moves that you could look at and go, this is going to work. Brook Lopez is a prime example. Brook Lopez was great for the Lakers. And the fact that they let him walk out the front door, that was a huge problem. There's a reason why Magic said he regretted that. He didn't want to pay him, and he screwed that up. Bledsoe was not as good as Drew Holiday. He was not. As a defender, he wasn't as good as Drew Holiday. As an overall player, he wasn't as good as Drew Holiday. And as soon as you saw him on the unit, it was obvious. This fits. That works. You know, Bobby Porter's coming out of college. A lot of people don't remember. Bobby Porter's coming out of college. He was in the top 5 in the SEC in scoring, and he led the SEC in rebounding. He could do all of those things. He was a perfect complementary player. Perfect. I saw Horace Grant when him coming out of college, him coming into the league when he got with the Bulls. I saw Horace Grant. That's what I saw. So the Cleveland Cavaliers were not doing that. They were putting pieces around James that were like Shaq being what Shaq was at that point, getting Ben Wallace when they got Ben Wallace. Like I mentioned, man, when we're talking about a unit in the 08-09 season that won 66 games and went to the Eastern Conference Championship, the fact that James had to do that much, I don't remember a team that won that many games. The guy won the league MVP and they went to the conference championship and he had to do that much. I don't remember that. I don't. I do not remember that. To this day, I don't. So that's still a mystery to me. To this day. Travio, what up? Can't hear you, brother.
Oh, I was mute. What's good, OG? But yeah, we're back on here. So I got a couple more questions. So I'm thinking about that 2014 draft class. And one of the guys I really loved was Jabari Parker. I think it was 2014.
Yeah.
And, injuries really kind of killed him a lot. But what do you think?
Not kind of.
Yeah, they killed him.
We ain't talking about Giannis the way we talking about him if he would have held up.
Oh, that's conversation, man. I think about Jabari, man. I used to love his game, man, especially being kind of his size and playing ball. Like, I love Jabari. He was so smooth.
Right.
What do you think his ceiling probably could have been, man, like at his best? Like, because I think he could have been like a Melo, maybe 2.0.
He falls in the same category with the kid in Orlando, Banchero.
Oh, yeah.
I put him, Banchero, Antoine Walker, dudes like that.
Yeah.
That's how I see Jabari Parker. He looked like, because first of all, he was a sneaky athlete. He was a lot better athlete than people give him credit for. He could shoot the basketball, get down the lane. He was a bit of 6'9", bit of it. Will dunk on you. The reason why they drafted Giannis, as good as Giannis was, was because he was insurance. He was going to be a project. They didn't really know who Giannis was. Jabari Parker was the franchise guy, so he tore his knee up. All of a sudden, Giannis is now turning into that guy. Jabari Parker tears his knee up again.
Yeah.
Now we got to move off him.
Yeah, man. I was really huge on Jabari, man. Jabari, and I'm from Kansas. I'm a KU guy. I love Andrew Wiggins, but I thought, man, I would have took Jabari, man, because his skill set, man, I was probably crazy. But one more question before I get out of here, man. What do you think Klay Thompson is? Like straight three-point shooter. Like three-point shooter, where you got him at? Ranked the straight three ball.
I think he's a top 5 long ball shooter. You can
Top
make a legit
5?
argument that he had top. I can't name 5 better long ball shooters than him. Him, Curry, Allen, Bird,
Reggie. Put Reggie in there?
I would put Reggie in there above Damian Lillard, but it's close.
Okay. Yeah.
James Harden.
You gotta put James. This is his volume and everything, but yeah. All right, OG, man. I just want to get on here and chat with you.
You know where to find me at, brother?
Yes,
you know
sir.
Where to find me at? I think I got all the super chats. I think I'm good. Jeremiah talked about Timmy D. Angie Carr tapped in. Thank you very much. Talked to Kelvy tonight. Yeah. This was good stuff. It's about that time for me. It was dope to see you guys tonight. 100%. I will see you guys soon. I'm on the panel tomorrow. We will get it on again. And I will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it.